Hello, this is Jeff from Leathercraft. Today I figured it'd be a good idea to do an experiment and tutorial on fixing Barge contact cement. As you see, my contact cement is in terrible condition. It looks just like a bunch of boogers. So this is actually perfect for our tutorial because we're going to start off with some contact cement that is in terrible shape. As you see before you, I'm using the Barge thinner to fix the Barge contact cement. The Barge thinner was actually just a good deal the day I bought it, so I went ahead and purchased it. But it doesn't hurt that it's actually married to the product that we'll be trying to fix. As you see, the glue is just in horrible condition. I decided I want to do a few tests though, so instead of pouring a bunch of thinner into the pot, I went ahead and used just incremental amounts. I was curious to see just how much I would need to actually make a difference in the contact cement. I had a feeling I would need a lot more because of how dried out this glue is, but there's no harm in trying to assess how much you need. Okay, now we have a thin layer of thinner on top of the contact cement, and I'm going to stir it around for a while just to get an idea how that small amount of Barge thinner is going to react with the glue that we have in the pot. I'm definitely positive, considering I'm doing this voiceover after the fact, that it's going to need a lot more. I figured I'd share the results with everybody. At this point I decided to add some more thinner into the pot. I knew that this still wasn't enough, but I was curious to see what kind of response I would get from the contact cement by adding this and then stirring it around. Just stirring it isn't going to do the trick. After you feel you put a sufficient amount of thinner into the glue and you've stirred it around, at that point you want to let it sit for about an hour. After that hour is up, you can get an idea of the consistency of your glue, and then you could decide at that point whether you want to add more thinner to your glue. And just a reminder, of course, both of these chemicals are poisons. You want to avoid inhaling them in any sense of the measure. If you notice, I just put the cap back on the Barge thinner. It's not a good idea to let these fumes build up. The fumes from the thinner are actually very flammable. So don't work around any flames, don't light a cigarette. Just keep in mind that these are dangerous chemicals. At this point, after adding some more thinner, I figured I'd give it an hour to see how things came out.
1 hour later.
After waiting an hour, the glue looked a lot better, but it still wasn't at the level that I like to work with. I'd like to continue thinning it out a little bit. It's still stretchy, but it's definitely a lot better than it was. Although there was a difference from the thinner that I put in, this glue is definitely not where I'd want it to be. I figured it's also a good idea to demonstrate the difference between keeping the glue in a pot and in the sealed can. The glue in the sealed can has a lot better consistency. It's pretty much similar to when the day I bought it. It runs a lot more fluid. It is exactly at the consistency I like to use glue. If you feel you're not using contact cement that often, then go ahead and just keep it in the can. It's going to stay fresh a lot longer, and of course you could also add thinner to the can, but I found that you don't have to do it as often. So far I haven't added any to this can. There are leather crafters that are always adding thinner to their glue every time they use it, and I think that's a practice I'm going to start myself because it seems like a good idea. I decided that was enough experimenting. Let's get the sufficient amount of thinner into here. Part of the reason why I like using the eyedropper is because I don't have any risk of spilling thinner when I use the eyedropper. If you notice, I just did a good job of spilling some of this stuff, which I quickly cleaned up. If you have a more efficient way of pouring this stuff into the pot, please by all means post it into the forum. I would love to learn how not to spill this stuff. I am a fan of trying to hold on to what brain cells I do have left. As you can see, it's looking a lot better. It moves much more like a fluid now, which is excellent. At the very beginning of this video, as you noticed, it didn't at all. It just cracked. It would stretch and then just crack. So we're getting to where I'd like to use it at this point. So I'm going to stir it around a lot more. And then I'm going to go ahead and wait an hour to see what happens. That looks so much better than when we started. Now it's falling off the brush like a liquid, which is nice.
1 hour later.
Alright, an hour has gone by and you can see, look how much more fluid this is. Now it's behaving like a glue. I personally would like it a little more thin than this, but this is fine, this is useful. But I'll probably go ahead and thin it out a little bit more. Here, let me go ahead and show you a before and after clip. You can see the difference. Here, this is totally useless. That's not going to spread on anything. It's way thicker than peanut butter. Now this is much better. I'm really happy with the outcome. The thinner works well, you just got to use a sufficient amount in order to restore your glue. When I store my container of contact cement, I store it upside down, and this prevents the lid from sticking to the rest of the can, which can make it impossible to open. This prevents that from happening. Plus, I always keep all these solvents and chemicals in plastic bags. It's just a further step to protect myself from any potential leakage of fumes. Remember, all this stuff is poisonous and toxic. Hey, I want to thank everyone for watching this video. I truly appreciate it. If you liked it, please by all means like and subscribe. It's a brand new channel. I'm trying to grow it. I hope you learned how to fix your contact cement with a thinner on this video. And of course, there are other YouTube videos on this very topic. Watch a few of them, get a consensus of what works for other people, and this will help benefit you by understanding what would be best for you. Thank you. Take care.